Hello everybody, Catchy1383 with Catchy Gaming, and this is Take a Tricky Tour through Shy Guy Bazaar. And I'm also going to show you where a Peach Medallion is. I think I called them token or coins. As far as I can tell, they're pretty much the same thing in regards to this game. So first, getting up to where it is located. At some point I just gave up and grabbed a feather, as per my MO. So you're going to grind along this rail along the staircase, and then you're going to want to turn to the right there. I did make a few attempts to not use the feather, but I just said to hell with it and use the feather after a bit. You're going to drive along the rooftops here to grab that Peach Medallion. Once you have that medallion, you're going to make your way back across the roofs. Try not to drop down because you'll need another feather. There is a way to get up here without a feather. It's longer and almost as convoluted, so it's just easier to get the feather this time around. And there's the P-switch right there. So this one took me a while. It's probably been the biggest pain in the ass that I can remember in recent memory. I don't know, maybe somebody out there managed to do some weird exploit and nab it. This one requires a lot of precise timing, like an annoying amount of precise timing. So some things of note. Starting with, you don't need to grab all the blue rings. You just have to grab enough of them. I mean, if you figure out a way to grab all of them, good on you. You're much better than I am. The next thing is this first sort of curve you come around while grinding on this rail. So if you hit it too early, you're going to fly over the rope, which you kind of need to get on. If you hit it too late, you'll hit a bump and you can't do any input until you land. And by that point, you will not be able to land on any of the ropes. Sometimes you can get away with landing on the one closer to you, but you want to get that blue ring. So you're going to want to go for the farther one. The timing for this is hard to nail down, but maybe just watch this segment over and over again. The other thing, this ring that you just saw me completely and totally miss in midair, I never figured out how to get that. Probably a barrel roll midair, I don't know. Next tricky segment is that wall. Again, you want to be grinding so that you can actually land and hit that wall. By that I mean you jump off the wall and then you do a wall boost or wall grind, whatever you want to call it. Because you're going to have to do it. If you miss it, you're not going to be able to get the rest of it without losing time and not being able to have enough left to make it through the rest of the challenge. So here's an example right here. Now the next part is making sure you jump in time to land on that other rope to grind on. Now the trick to that one is once you're through the blue ring, do a barrel roll jump. Once you get that timing down, you got to move on to the next challenge, which is getting onto that sort of rope and then onto the wall. And you're going to do that by doing another barrel jump almost right after, maybe like a fraction of a second after you go through that blue ring. If you do it too early, you will miss. Which, that brings me to the biggest part. This area right here, because there's no real smooth transition between the two. And this one is what took me probably the most tries to get to. I almost pulled it off on this run, but I messed up the input, unfortunately. So I tried a couple of things, and I could only get one thing to really work. And I'll show you what that is. The only thing I could really get to work is if you kind of drive on straight on at the wall and then charge jump, you can kind of get up there. That was not a successful attempt, mind you. But I don't think I had an instance where I could just smoothly continue on the path without having to either slow down or almost stop completely in order to set that up so I can make that jump. Like I said, you just have to get through enough blue rings to get it, and there's more than enough to get this whole entire thing. And not to mention nailing that first jump. It's a giant pain in the butt. So what I ended up doing is finding the same place in Shy Guy Bazaar practicing. And here you see more or less a successful attempt at what I was trying to do. more or less. I mean, it doesn't have the timer, so eh. And it was a bit higher than I would care for, to be honest. But like I said, I could not, for the life of me, figure out a way to get up there without slowing down. And then you see me practicing another sort of difficult part, trying to get the timing down right to cross that carpet to get on that rope, because you're going to need to do that for the final segment here. And then you'll see what I do for those last bit. Don't try doing the wall jump thing that I did. It's just not really worth it. And it doesn't really work. Now, for those who want to know if you mess up and don't hit retry or want to do some practicing, you can fly to the right where that pile of coins are. You can drive up the stairs and it'll get you back to the P switch. Or if you have enough reverse time going on, you can do that as well. So, with enough repetition, I finally nailed down the timing enough to finally get it just good enough as far as I'm concerned.